Okay, we've just seen the Bahrain Grand Prix of 2025, and the race is finished. George Russell's finished second, but is he going to be second? Is he going to be classified second, or are they going to apply a penalty? We are aware of an infringement that he's opened the DRS flap at the wrong point around the lap. That's potentially gaining a sporting advantage that therefore should be a penalty, and yet they're going to decide whether they're going to give him a penalty after the race. Well, the race is finished. He's finished in second. He's being interviewed as the second place competitor. They're then going to have the podium. He's going to get the trophy. And then what? Are they then going to decide whether or not they're going to apply a penalty? Are they then going to adjust the scale of the penalty to then work out where they want him to finish? This is the problem. It was quite easy to say, okay, there's an infringement, there's a penalty. But no, we'll do it after the race. So many incidents in this race where so many collisions, so many little drivers getting penalties for causing the collision. And they were able to determine that and apply the penalty very, very quickly. I'm actually going to need to rewatch this Grand Prix through because there were so many different incidents. I think Antonelli, for track limits on the restart after the safety car incident, it appeared in the first lap or two after the restart that he exceeded track limits, but that got ignored, and that was after he'd already been given his third and final warning. So it seemed to me that if I was viewing it right, that should have given him a 5 second penalty just for that one. And then they mentioned later on beyond that he'd just had a lap time deleted, which would have been his second infringement. Again, we don't know which lap it's relating to, but that potentially could be a second infringement. So does he now get a 5 second penalty and then a further 10 second penalty on top of the 5 second penalty? Need to have a look who the stewards are for this race. Need to review a lot of these incidents. It seemed to me, again, but we don't see enough of it, that Charles Leclerc actually pushed Lando Norris off the track and therefore should have been given a penalty for pushing Norris off the track. But what we need to do is go through the incidents and see if we get some close-ups. We've got, was it Carlos Sainz? Was it him that got the penalty for locking up and forcing Antonelli off the track? Do you remember where we last saw that? Do you remember? Nowhere does it say in the overtaking on the overtaking guidelines, Karen says, that the car on the inside has to remain on track. Maybe Carlos is not such an expert of the regulation of the overtaking guidelines as somebody else we know. Again, if we can get the footage to this, we'll do some comparisons. There's a lot to go through in that event, purely because it's the absolute inconsistency of when they apply penalties to drivers, which we saw a lot of penalties applied in this race. And which driver on the grid do they never seem to apply those penalties to? You know, there's a Hungarian Grand Prix, I think it was last season, where a driver locked up and smashed into another one. But rather than give him a 10 second penalty there and then within a lap or two, where the stewards just look at the incident and go, yeah, that's a penalty. No, they don't do that. We'll decide after the race. We'll have a look at that after the race, and then we'll invite him in to ask him what he thinks in the comments section. Oh, well, yeah, we'll just call that a racing incident there, won't we? We'll call that a racing incident. But when it's other drivers, they can just look at the incident, look at the replay, and just go, no, he's clearly at fault. That's a 10 second penalty. It's incredible, Formula One is, isn't it? The formula. So, if I get a chance to look at it later on today, I'll probably have a rewatch of the Grand Prix, re-look at the incidents, but it's going to take time to get the comparative footage to say, well, here's an incident that took place. Here's how they penalised it today. Let's compare and contrast that with the times where we've seen this happen, and it's been, let them race. No further action required. We'll look at that one after the race. But by the time that I come round to doing that video, maybe we'll know whether George Russell actually is going to be classified P2 or whether he's going to get a 5-second penalty or a 10-second penalty for the illegal use of the DRS flap. Who knows? Ultimately, he might have been having a problem. His transponder was not being picked up by the FIA timing system. That might impact the detection in terms of the monitor. So it might, I don't know, does it display on your car steering wheel when it is you're allowed to activate your DRS flap? I'm guessing it would do if that system was down on his car. Is that an excuse? Well, regardless, if you've got a malfunction, then doesn't mean that, oh, I've got a malfunction, there's a problem with the car, doesn't mean you can use your DRS flap anywhere else, does it? So that shouldn't absolve him from that if that's what he's guilty of. Anyway, lots to look into. I just thought I'd make this quick reaction video because this is literally, the drivers' interviews have started. They've interviewed this guy as the P2 of the race, but if they know that they've got an infringement hanging over his head, why are they doing this? Why have we jumped straight into the interviews and the podium if we don't know whether or not what the final finishing order is? If there's going to be penalties applied, then why are we handing out trophies? Let's wait until we've decided what the actual order is, and then, and only then, will we conduct the interviews for those positions and hand out the trophies for the event. It shouldn't be a case of, oh, we'll let everybody celebrate and then afterwards we'll change the order, because you're denying somebody their moment on the podium, denying somebody their celebration for what they've accomplished, if what Russell has just accomplished is actually illegal. Okay, so he's committed an infringement, therefore it's not a legal achievement. Therefore, you apply the penalty, he gets demoted positions, and therefore, whatever that penalty has resulted in might well elevate Leclerc into third position and Norris into second. But no, it's Formula One. This is the show, isn't it? This is the show. We have to have the fireworks. We have to have the interviews. But the stewards could have easily made a decision there and then during the race. So by the time that the checkered flag went, we knew that when there were no further penalties to apply unless it was track limits on the last lap. Piss poor, isn't it? This is the premier motorsports category in the world. This is the best they can do. Piss poor. Okay, and this is manipulation. Let's wait to see what the finishing order is and the timings between them, and then we'll decide if we're going to apply a penalty. And then we can determine what penalty that's going to be, whether it be 5 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, because then we know what result it's going to make. So you shouldn't be doing that. Should not be doing that. But again, this is the shit show that is Formula One. That'll do on this video. Like I say, loads to actually explore in this, and it's probably going to have to take several videos to do so. Loads to see because multiple incidents and lots of talking points, and to compare and contrast with the types of incidents we've seen in the past that went unpunished. Thank you for your time.